baby. 3, 2, 1.
Hello guys, Toon here back again. This week we got a review of Strikers 1945 Plus on the NeoGeo. This is pretty much Strikers 1945 2, but remade for different hardware, made for the NeoGeo hardware. As the original, I'm not sure exactly what the original arcade board runs on, but it was just a standard jammer sort of connector, so I'm not sure exactly what hardware it is, but it's not NeoGeo anymore, put it that way. So this is, like I say, it's a remake. The originals were in vertical, in Tate mode, but say this one has been redone for horizontal, as I don't think there is any Tate mode sort of NeoGeo games. So this game came out in 1999. This vertical scroll and shoot up made by Psycho. If you remember the Aero Fighters games on NeoGeo, they were made by Video Systems. Well, some of the people from Video Systems left and formed their own company, and they called themselves Psycho. So these are part of the staff who actually made the original Aero Fighters games. And to be honest, they're quite similar in lots of ways to the Aero Fighters. A little bit different, but quite similar games. Like I said, this was originally, to say this is a remake originally of Strikers 1945 2. I think the original Strikers does look a little bit nicer, and it's got a little bit brighter colours, but so this version's no slouch. So what we'll do, we'll put some credits in. Right then, you've got all these different ships to choose from the start. They've all got slightly different weapon systems, slightly different missiles, and a different sub-weapon, and they do have different bombs as well. So I'm going to choose this ship because I quite like his firing, he's quite powerful. As you see, there's a bar that comes up on the left-hand side, and what you do with that is the more ships you've got, the more it powers up, and then you can use your sub-weapon, which is quite a powerful attack. So, we'll get into this. So you collect power-ups, which obviously give you power-ups, and then your missiles fire a bit more. You just see my missiles go off and cause these little explosions. I really like this ship because of that, because these little explosions are quite powerful. With this game as well, you don't really have to button bash the buttons crazy, because you can literally just tap the button every now and then, like in Aero Fighters, and you can get really fast firing going on. To use this sub-weapon, you actually hold on the button, power it up for a second, and let go. I say this sort of idea of sub-weapons and everything was used in a lot of the Psycho games, including obviously all the Strikers games, and like Gunbird 1 and 2. They did other shoot 'em ups as well, like Dragon Blaze, which is quite cool. So they Psycho are quite famous for the stuff they do. So as you can see, I've got one on the left hand side. I've got one of these power shots built up. So I'm going to try and kill. Well, yes, most of the bosses have 2 forms, apart from the last boss, who has 3 forms. But what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and shoot the first form without using my sub-weapon, and then use my sub-weapon on the actual, the main form of the boss. The reason to do that, the sub-weapon is very powerful, and I will take a fair chunk of energy out of it when I use it. Some bosses it will kill in 1 hit. I say this game's got 8 levels altogether. Once you get past level 4, you get to level 5. When you continue, it'll start you right back at the beginning of the level again. So you can't just keep spamming credits to work your way through it. The last level is quite tricky. I have managed to beat the last level, but it took a bit of practice, and it took some sort of working out when to use my bombs and when to use my power shot. You'll notice as well that a lot of the ground enemies, if you get close to them, they'll stop firing. Got to be a little bit careful with that, mind, because if they're about to fire as you get close to them, they'll still fire at you. Just basically what happened then. And then you'll end up getting killed. I say this game's got 8 levels, like I was saying. They're all levels that are based on different backgrounds. The backgrounds in this game are not amazing, but they do the job, you know. They're not like super detailed or nothing, but they definitely do the job. It hasn't hurt this game at all, I don't think, going from a vertical perspective to horizontal. It's still, with the sidebars, you still roughly get about the same size screen. Right, what I want to do, bomb that gun turret there, and then carry on firing on the front of the ship. I say each plane as well has got a different smart bomb. They do different things basically, but this plane's got a pretty funky smart bomb as well, which I might end up using soon now, unless I can build up enough points to use my sub-weapon again, which I have. I said that'll, as you see, do a fair amount of damage to him. So I managed to get to level 5 on 1 credit so far. So the game, it's gonna give you a bit of a challenge. It's not an easy game, but it's not a super hard game either. But it'll definitely give you a fair challenge. I'm gonna use the smart bomb. I say the 1 credit this game is going to take a fair amount of practice. Also as well, once you actually finish the game, you go to the second loop. I don't know whether there's more than 1 loop. There might be 2 loops, 3 loops, I'm not entirely sure. But the second loop is considerably more difficult than the first loop. Another thing as well, this little bit difference between this and Strikers 2 is the bullets are a lot faster than Strikers 2 as I die. Shall I continue? Go on, I'll continue. The bullet patterns are a lot faster on Strikers 2. They have been slowed down a little bit for this game. They've been slowed down quite a lot in some respects actually for this game. Right, so I don't think there's that much difference between the 2 games. There's a few graphical differences. I think all the levels are the same. The last boss is slightly different apparently. I've never actually got to the last boss on Strikers 2. Well, I may have actually years ago, but I can't remember the last boss of Strikers 2 anyway. Get my smart button. Pushed across a little bit too far. Use my smart button. So the explosions are very nice in this game, as you can see. They're pretty cool. I say sometimes you start in different levels as well. It's not dependent on what ship you got, it's just sometimes you start in different levels. Scoring in this game, I don't think there's any major scoring techniques in this game, at least I don't think there is. The only scoring I've seen so far is the ground enemies will leave gold on the floor. If you keep collecting that gold and don't miss any, it'll actually go up in value. But I'm not sure if it's dependent on if you miss any, or if you basically get a certain amount of time to pick them up, because it does reset in the zone sometimes. So the more, the quicker you get it together, you basically have more gold. So once you've done a couple of levels, the game as well really chucks up in difficulty, as you can see. You do get a lot of bullets on screen, and once you come a little bit, obviously a little difficult to deal with at times. The bosses get a little bit harder as well. They fire more bullets, and they pattern together a little bit. So, well, the patterns sort of stay the same, but the amount of bullets in those patterns increase as well. Damn. But I won't continue. I'll go back to the start and pick a different ship. I say, for me to actually 1 credit, this is going to take a fair amount of practice. Right, so let's pick one of the other ships. Pancake is quite good. Spitfire. Let's go for the Field. So, started on a different level. So this has got these like little sort of spinning sort of bomb weapon. They explode on contact. I say my sub-weapon's going to be different as well. That's a bit more of those spear things. I say all the ships seem decent, to be honest, like, but I do prefer that that one plane. I do like its bomb and its sub-weapon. They seem very powerful. Here we go. Let's try the sub-weapon on this one. Yeah, I think this one's got a laser, that's it. It'd be nice if that laser actually blocked bullets, but it doesn't. See this one, you can use a lot more of that sub-weapon. Obviously it's a weaker sub-weapon, so it allows you to use a lot more. I might try one of the bombs in a bit. Dead. You can see it takes a lot longer to kill the bosses with this ship. This ship does have wider firing. One of the other ships has quite wide firing, I can't remember which one it is. I say if you're into Japanese shooters, you've probably heard of Psycho before, and you've probably come across some of their games on other platforms like the PS2 and the PS1 and the Dreamcast. Dreamcast has some very nice conversion of Gunbird 2, which is really good. That's a really good game as well. That's like a really cutesy version of these movies, I suppose. I do like the Gunbird games. You can get them on the PS2 as well. And I'm pretty sure Gunbird 2 got released on mobile. I think it was like one of those free-to-play games that you have to keep playing when you get adverts. I'm pretty sure they had on there at one point. Well, that's starting to sort of come together. Got that one chucks lots of fast bullets out. Oh, there's a slight delay. Some of the ships got a slight delay in their smart bombs. Ooh, like that, of course. So if you like a look at this and you've never played the Aero Fighters games, give them a try as well. There's some good games as well, like. Oh well. Right guys, so that can said. So that's Strikers 1945 Plus on the NeoGeo. I'd say maybe a lot of people out there didn't realise the Strikers games actually came out on the NeoGeo. Well, the one game did anyway. Like I said, this is a remake of Strikers 1945 2 for different hardware. Like I say, graphically, I don't think it looks quite as nice as 1945 too, to be honest. I think the other one has got a little bit better colours. I think the colour palette, for some reason, got a little bit duller when they got converted over to the NeoGeo. I don't know exactly why that was, because the NeoGeo can do lovely colour, so perhaps they obviously went for a bit more of a gritty look or something. So yeah, the graphics in this game, they're pretty decent. They're nothing amazing, but they do the job for the type of game it is. Music, the music's okay. It's not great, but they've gone for a more sort of like military type sort of theme with the music. So I suppose it matches what they were going for anyway, but I wouldn't write home about the music in this game. Playability-wise, plays really nice, and especially with the different ships and the different weapon systems. It's going to take you a little while before you pick a ship that you start to sort of really feel it sort of plays well with your play style. And with all the different sub-weapons and everything, there's some different tactics you can use on bosses and stuff. So, like I said, I don't think there's any big scoring mechanics this game other than picking up the gold off the tanks and stuff on the floor. But overall, a really cool shoot 'em up. Really good. I say I'll carry on playing this and see if I can one credit it. I don't know if I can, but I'll give it a go on it. It's fun to play anyway. So I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10. So if you've got a Neo Geo and give this a try, see what you think. It's a decent shoot 'em up, and especially if you like the Psycho games, you're gonna really like this. It's a little bit different. It does have slower bullet patterns than some of the other Psycho games, but still, it's no slouch. Still a bit of a challenge, especially to clock it on one credit, and especially to do the second loop is going to take a fair amount of challenge. You're going to have to be pretty good. So, yep, 8 out of 10, guys. Pretty cool game. Check it out. So, what I'll do, guys, I'll catch you next time. I'm not sure what game I'm going to play next, but whatever I fancy playing, I suppose. And then I'll do a review with it. So, I'll see you soon. So, bye now.